Kia ora, my name is Josiah, and today we're going to be taking a look at the treatment of medicinal cannabis to meet the New Zealand minimum quality standard microbial limits. So my name is Josiah, but call me Joe, call me Chill. I've set up multiple facilities here in Aotearoa, and you can find me at chilldivision.co.nz and follow along with our journey on Instagram. So a little bit of insight into why we're pursuing this. The goal of clean cultivation is to avoid having to treat cannabis or to minimize the required treatment post-harvest, avoiding irradiation and getting fresh medicine to patients. So we asked ourselves, why don't we learn from others? The cannabis industry isn't the first to tackle these issues, so why not lean on industry expert knowledge from other fields such as wineries, vineyards, and even kiwi fruit growers. So what can we actually use? There's a relatively short list. There's a few more on the Ministry of Health website that you can look into if you'd like. But we're going to fly through this. And in particular, the things that we're most interested in are the second paragraph there, active ingredients that are foods. And the fourth one there, hydrogen peroxide. So let's take a look at hydrogen peroxide, which is actually quite commonly used. It breaks down into water and oxygen. However, it has a very rapid half-life when it is misted, which is not entirely ideal. Hydrogen peroxide is mostly harmless, especially at the concentrations that a lot of people would use it at, and it's considered a mild irritant at most, like if you were to inhale it through your nose, sort of thing. It's used very commonly in mouthwash, toothpaste, for the treatments of cuts, wounds, and disinfectants, but most importantly, it's on the permitted list. Hypochlorous acid is another one. However, it's not permitted for IPM, only for things like flushing out your pipes and stuff like that. That's not to say that it couldn't be added in the future though, so that's why we are mentioning it. It has a moderate half-life, which is quite good. It's a lot better than hydrogen peroxide. It is considered non-toxic though, which is great. It is an antimicrobial. It's used in water treatment, things like dermatology, especially for things like eczema, and also in food safety. Now on to the goodness. This is what we really want to look at here. So Peracetic Acid is organic. It's made from the acetic acid in vinegar combined with hydrogen peroxide, which you'll recall is on the allowed list. Both of them are. It has a sufficient half-life when misted, even without a surfactant, which is really cool. And it's going to give it the opportunity to basically get in there and properly break down any microbial growth that it may come in contact with. It is considered a bit of an irritant, though, when sprayed, especially at higher concentrations. But again, this is basically, those higher concentrations are going to be lower than what vinegar would be. So again, this stems from hydrogen peroxide largely. This is also an antimicrobial, very, very, very commonly used in water treatment. So Pericitic Acid is amazing in that it fully decomposes into water, oxygen, and CO2, even within a vacuum-sealed container, which is quite important. It will briefly smell like strong vinegar. If you've ever spilled vinegar on your kitchen counter, you'll know exactly what that smells like. However, it is safe for inhalation, where applied to products and things like that. Once the withholding period has passed, it is completely gone, basically, which is fantastic. And it will also help the flower it gets applied to meet those inhalation standards. However, although it's not something that we've observed ourselves, quite the opposite, but it may cause a slight increase in browning of the flower bud. At least in scientific trials, it did this for grapes. So some initial findings. It meets the New Zealand minimum quality standards because it is a food-derived treatment, vinegar, acetic acid. If you have a look on your vinegar bottle for the vinegar that you've got in your home kitchen pantry, it will likely tell you somewhere between 4 to 8% acidic value. That's the amount of acetic acid that is in your vinegar. The rest of it's predominantly just water. It is highly effective at treatment with a 5 to 7 log reduction in microbial load. So a 5 log reduction is the same as a 99.999% reduction, or 7 log will be 99.99999%. At 1% when sprayed on grapes. Some of the initial scientific research was coming back showing that it was a 7 log reduction. We've got some research from vineyards that shows it is most effective when sprayed at 1%. There was diminishing returns, anything over that, but at 0.5% it only provided roughly a 5 log reduction. So there's definitely further work needed around application types and rates. For example, we know that in the underground a lot of times people will give their outdoor cultivated flower a hydrogen peroxide bath. Now, that's not something that we envisage that we would need to do here. We're more thinking around the lines of the fine droplets from the mist, how much we need to saturate it with, and that sort of thing. So Peracetic Acid may not be a silver bullet. However, combining sterile cultivation practices with nitrogen backfill packaging, which is also highly important, Peracetic Acid may actually be the missing link to fresh and non-irradiated dried flower, which is pretty exciting, and that's why we've been going down this this little rabbit hole here. If you do have any questions, comments, you can find me on Instagram. I hope you've enjoyed this. Please hit us up. We're at chill.division.nz. Please leave a comment down below. If you're on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button. Hope you have an awesome day, and we'll talk to you soon. Cheers!